Welcome to Do or Do Not, a Star Wars podcast. Rise, Lord Vader. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Do or Do Not, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Dwight Couch, not evil Emperor Palpatine, and with me, as always, my number one man to the left or the right, depending on which way you're looking, the one, the only, Darth Vader, Chris Payton. Let's see what he looks like under the mask, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, it's hideous! Oh, it's so awful. Look how mangled he is. As we wait for Chris to put on his headset so he can hear us, we definitely were not yelling how mangled you are and under the mask, sir.
I felt like Dark Helmet is like, how do I breathe in this thing?
Oh, we should do an episode on Spaceballs.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Yeah, we should get some people together and do a live watch party. That would be a fun movie to do a live watch party too.
Yeah, I wonder if John's seen that. That'd be a good first timer for him.
Oh, I wonder if he's probably not seen it. Probably not.
If he hasn't, I need to tell him not to see it.
Yeah,
he can have a natural reaction to it.
Yeah, that would be a good time right there. So, Chris, how's it going?
Ooh, better now. I think it was choking me. I guess I'm just too fat to wear it.
Put it back on. I can't. Scott, my man, how's it going? Man, it's been a long time. What is going on, Scott? How are you doing up in Canada? Did you get ran out from the wildfires? Because all your shit came down here.
That's Ohio.
Oh, is he? I thought he was in Canada.
No, this is a joke. I heard somebody say that with all their forest fire smoke coming down here, that's an act of violence, so we should go attack them and rename it Snowhio.
Oh. Oh. What's been going on this week, Chris? What have you been into? Anything exciting?
Well, last Saturday was pretty fun. Had a cookout and gaming night, which yours truly, Mr. Dwight, was there, and his lovely wife, Wendy.
Thank you. Glad to make an appearance. It was a fantastic night.
I know you didn't get to enjoy yourself because you had to sign autographs. You had like fanboys there and stuff.
Yeah, it's the cross I bear in life. It's the cross I bear.
It's a curse and a gift.
It is. It's all in one.
Just pretty good. Just working. Went to Shelbyville today. There's a new comic book / gaming store that just opened up like a week ago. I went up to check it out. Looks very promising. Very promising. Really cool owners. There's 2 different owners, but I did that today. It was pretty cool. But that's about it.
Cool. Did you see the local gaming store here is now changed to something else? It's now like some kind of card shop only. It's not even called Moonlight Gaming Center.
No. Well, I think they still have Moonlight Gaming Center in the front, but it's been called through the decades for like several years now.
Oh, no, they took the Moonlight off.
Oh, the Moonlight Gaming Center's not on there?
Yeah, it's got some TCG game or cards or something.
Oh, I need to go by there and check that out. I know that it was through the decades, which is a big store up in Louisville owned by the same guy, but that's pretty much all they dealt in for like the past several years was just nothing but games. Mainly Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. They deal in some like vintage video games, stuff like that, but that's about it.
Well, Scott has been doing good, just like the rest of us, working his ass off with some crazy hours, and we would absolutely love to have you in when we do, not if we do, when we do a Spaceballs watch along.
How many people can you do that for? Because I think Jason would be down for that also.
I can get like 10.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, we can have a whole freaking panel. It'd be like
it'd take forever because I know we'll be having to pause it and talk about scenes so that we're laughing at.
It's like the Hollywood Squares of dorks.
There you go. There you go.
What are you drinking on tonight?
What do you think? Take
Probably
a
a
guess.
Fireball.
That's exactly what it is. But it is. It's my Mando glass.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Even though that's not who we're talking about this evening, but
I'm
I do love
drinking out of my Praetorian Guard glass.
Oh,
Yeah, fancy.
there you go.
So it's a French Praetorian Guard. It's got cursive on
Coca
it.
Cola.
Yeah. So tonight, last week we talked about Darth Vader. Tonight we're going to talk about old Sheevy boy, Sheev Palpatine, lowly councilman from Naboo, who infiltrates and manipulates an entire galaxy, and it should be a very, very interesting conversation. There is some news to talk about, and that comes a lot in a new book, which kind of ties into our theme tonight, talking about Palpatine. Have you or are you going to pick up The Red Blade, a book that just released this past week?
I've never heard of it, so this is new to me.
So it is a book of the Inquisitorius and how the Inquisitors got started. And one of the only little expert that I know, or excerpt I know about this, is the fact that they talk about how all Palpatine had gotten spies inside the Jedi Temple, and these spies were marked for Order 66, not to be killed. They had a different order, and it was whether they joined or not, but these were people that already favored the dark side. And kind of like the Inquisitor says, he's like, I didn't have much of a choice when he's talking to Kanan Jarrus and Rebels. And so it's really kind of interesting that that's the path they're going to take to show how all these Inquisitors made it through Order 66.
Actually, the book just came out today.
No, it's been out for like a week or so, I think.
Oh, I might check on the Audible. I'll get it that way. That definitely sounds pretty interesting.
We should get that and then go through it and then do an episode on the book. It's like a do or do not book club.
Hell yeah.
So if you want to join the do or do not book club, send $19.99 to Columbia.
To Columbia? I know you should be able to get 20 CDs for a penny.
Right. Well, you're going to get 20 ideas for $19.99.
Oh, there you go.
It's like $1 an idea. It's a deal nowadays.
Especially if the ideas are coming from us. It's hard to put a price tag on that, though, but I guess that'll do.
It's invaluable life lessons. Invaluable life lessons. So that's about all the news that I had this week. It's been a pretty slow week. Got our official do or do not, there is no try shirt on. This is not available at powerbombnation.com, where you can find all kinds of Powerbomb Nation merch.
Did you say this is not available?
It is not available there because this is not an official T-shirt. Okay. It is just my favorite.
See, you already had me going because I was like, oh, I really need to get one of those.
Because I won't buy the Powerbomb Nation shirt, but I'll buy that one. Where's that one?
There you go. I'm still waiting on Powerbomb Nation T-shirt that I've been promised, but
we got some ordered-ish. We've thought about ordering it. We haven't ordered it yet. But no, I got to do an order here over the next month. I'm going to have some family over, and they're getting Powerbomb Nation merch and some Powerbomb Nation coffee, too. PowerbombRoasting.com. No, but where are you at in books? What are you reading now? Or listening to?
Unfortunately, not much since the last time. I mean, I'm still on the first book, but I haven't listened to, or not the first, but the fourth book, which is, the first one of the Ascendancy trilogy. But that's, I haven't listened to any since then. I mean, I haven't had very long trips, but usually I don't get to listen to the books unless I'm on long road trips or whatnot when I'm working. But if they're short, I don't get to listen to anything. So I haven't listened to anything since the last time we talked.
Very good. Very good. So we're going to have a lot of time to talk about Emperor Palpatine tonight.
There you go.
Josh Bose likes the Peru blend. Speaking of long trips where you could listen to a lot of audiobooks, if you travel down to Peru, that would be a very long trip, my friends. So,
We'll get to the trilogy.
where does Palpatine rank for you in your list of Star Wars?
That's very vague. Like as
Like your
villains or
favorites?
just
Like, does he make your Mount Rushmore?
no, he does not.
Really?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I just even I mean I know a lot of people are gonna hate it, but even Vader doesn't make my Mount Rushmore. I'm a big fan of old school Sith. I like the old ones, the 1,000-year-old Sith. I don't know, it's just I like them better for some reason. I mean, I think Vader would have been a lot better for me if I don't know, because you always hear about everybody talking about he's not at his fullest power. That's what I'd love to see is him at his fullest power, but he's not. He's a triplegic or whatever. Not a quadra, but a tri. But I don't know. I love them both, but I mean, I could easily fill the Rushmore up quickly without either one of them on it.
I think Palpatine crippled Vader intentionally to get a better parking spot for the Death Star.
Yeah, I mean, definitely with the suit.
Right?
I mean, technically Obi-Wan crippled him, but
Palpatine kept him around. Palpatine got the van. He took it and had the chairs put in. He got him a special thing built so, his helmet comes down for him. He really did take care of him. He's a really generous employer.
yeah, he's a great father figure.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean,
I like Palpatine. Palpatine's one of my favorite Star Wars characters.
I mean, do you like? I like him too, but do you like him enough where he'd be? I mean, because the Mount Rushmore is only 4 people. Palpatine actually fits into those 4.
If I was to do a Mount Rushmore of Sith, yes.
See, you didn't give me that choice. You just gave me vague Star Wars.
You're the one that came out and was like, well, I love all the old 1,000-year-old Sith.
Well, if I had to choose between everybody, Palpatine wouldn't make it.
Okay, would he
sure.
choose? Would he make it in your Sith Mount Rushmore? Your oh, damn it, Chris.
I do like him though, but he's very, very close. I mean, I think just because, I mean, Vader would make it before him. I mean, I don't like just somebody who's strictly with a saber or strictly with force push, force pull, lightnings, non-saber attacks. It seems like Vader does mix that up pretty good, and I like that. He's very good with the saber and choking people and throwing people and sabering and slashing. I mean, he does all that pretty good, but it's like Palpatine was just, I'm going to lightning you. It's like, I mean, you see 5 minutes of fighting in the movies, but he wasn't exciting to me.
Palpatine, what I like about Palpatine is the ultimate Star Wars chess player. It was never anything that he had to directly get involved in. He controlled all the pieces, maneuvered them where he needed them on the board, and then struck when he needed to. He was the ultimate opportunist. We talked about that a little bit last week in the Darth Vader episode where Chris mentioned that his suit keeps him alive, but it does keep him in awful pain to accentuate his dark side attributes and even channel a little force lightning through the suit to kind of keep him at bay.
Yeah, because, I mean, Vader even says, he sees Luke overthrowing him and stuff, so Vader always was always having, or not Vader, but Palpatine was always trying to, put safety nets everywhere because he knew that, he was doomed from the get-go. Definitely Vader and Luke teamed together, but he had to do what he had to do.
Man's got to do what a man's got to do to stay on the throne.
I mean, he's good. I think his force, the dark side, the force, the dark side, whatever you want to call it for Palpatine, was so strong and impressive that, even Master Yoda couldn't sense it. That was pretty impressive as far as being able to hide it for everybody and being able to manipulate politics. It makes you wonder, Leia, because I think that's her strong Force part is being,
Yes.
the politics, the leadership. I'm not saying she's going to be evil and corrupt everybody, but that's part of the Force too. Not just swinging lightsabers and throwing lightning bolts. It's doing that kind of stuff too.
Right. I
And
mean, she
Palpatine was
was,
good at it.
if everybody says that, Luke was kind of the counter opposite of Vader, Leia was the counter opposite for the Emperor. I mean, through the entire, well, obviously not the prequels, but through the rest of it, Leia was the alternate version, the light version of the Emperor, and showed restraint. She would never use what she could use to fully take power and manipulate people. But you mentioned that Sheev was taught at a very young age to get into politics, and I thought it was very interesting. Of course, Sheev Palpatine, Master Darth Sidious. For those that don't know, spoiler alert: Darth Sidious is Palpatine, and he was. I know, Chris. I'm sorry to have to do that to you. I can let you know right now. Josh Bose, who is in the chat, probably did not know that. Sorry, Josh, that we spoiled that for you. Hope you can make it through the evening. Palpatine, born on Naboo. He was a chancellor of Naboo once we meet him, but we did meet him before in a book. I guess this is a non-canon book, but it does talk about how the master. Okay, Josh Bose can confirm that he has no idea what we're talking about, and he'll be okay. Good deal. The apprentice to Dark Plagueis, and Dark Plagueis specifically sought out Sheev Palpatine because he knew that the Sith could have more power with a human at the helm of the political machine rather than the moon species or the banker species, because he could do all the funding, and then Sheev could be the pretty boy, pretty face, go up there, kind of like the JFK of Star Wars, who turns out to be really corrupt. And like we mentioned, Chancellor of Naboo, and all-around good guy in Episode 1. Would you agree?
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Didn't see anything wrong with Sheev. Killed his parents, but, no big deal.
Maybe they were abusing him. I don't know. Maybe that was a necessary evil.
It's not a big deal. People do it all the time nowadays. Let's hope not. I got a 7-year-old in there.
The Force is strong with her.
So, you mentioned the politics. I thought that was one of the best things about Palpatine was his ability to manipulate, control, and stay 5 steps ahead of everybody else. And Plagueis seen this and taught him how to operate through the political system, which ultimately gave the Sith the biggest power that they've had at this point, because it gave them the opportunity with Sheev Palpatine to infiltrate the Senate and then to take over and let the Republic die with thunderous applause.
I was going to say something, but I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, with Palpatine, do you think... I've listened to some of the books about Dooku, and I'm drawing a blank, but the Jedi that Dooku grew up with, it was like his best friend that started the clone army.
Sifo Dyas.
Sifo Dyas. Do you think that was a fluke? Because that's, to me, I've never listened to any books that explains whether that was a fluke of him. Because I know when I listened to the books of Dooku, that there's a couple of them, and it was Sifo Dyas. And Sifo Dyas had a very strong connection to being able to see the future. And he knew there was a war coming. He knew the Republic needed to be protected. And the way I gathered it, Sifo Dyas put in that clone army legitimately, like himself, but it never says whether Palpatine influenced him to do it. Because do you think that's a coincidence that they just worked out, or have you heard anything different?
Nothing officially that I could cite. But I do think that the way they portray Palpatine in the prequel books and then even just what we've come to learn after the fact, it seems to me that it was one of those things where he just kind of looms over the entire series because he's blocking out Yoda and Mace Windu, and he's manipulating Dooku, and he's throwing shade over the Jedi Order. I would just have to think that he had some influence. I would think at this point in his career that he's just that strong in the dark side of the Force that he's influencing the events.
I mean, I guess with like the sequel trilogy, how he was able to connect Kylo and Rey together, like maybe he was able to put these visions in Sifo Dyas's head because he knew Sifo Dyas would, react and then physically go do that. Because I don't think it was an imposter. We know Sifo Dyas really did go and commission the clone army, but you never hear in the books or cartoons or movies or anything that Palpatine physically had an influence on that part of the movies. I didn't know if that was just a strange coincidence and he got lucky and had an army that he could do that with. But, I guess he did because Order 66 happened. So that was intentionally for him to take over everything. So,
yeah, I guess every voice you ever heard.
You never hear anything about it. So I always was curious about that.
I've always believed, but now that you mention it, I don't have any canon sources I can point to that besides that Palpatine is a complete badass. And I would imagine that, that was a critical part of his chessboard was making sure that he moved Sifo Dyas up. And then I think making sure that he knew that Qui-Gon, almost had to, or Obi-Wan had to go there. All that stuff had to play out exactly how it played out. We found out in the Bad Batch that's why he goes and has Kamino destroyed. It served its purpose. Shove that board into the ocean. Let's move on to Mount Tannis.
Yeah, don't post Scott's thing on there. He needs to be slapped.
We all know that Palpatine was the ultimate pawn. That is true. Episode 10, Darth Jar Jar.
Slap that man.
Is Jar Jar Binks dead?
No, pretty sure. Last I heard, as far as canon, it's in the books where he's like a street performer, like in Naboo.
Yes.
But people have ridiculed him and blaming him for the fall. I mean, I'm pretty sure that he's in one of the books I listened to that's canon that said that he's like a street performer in Naboo. That's what he's been reduced to, and like little, he performs for little kids and stuff now. But people have shunned him, and because of his, because ultimately he is the reason the Emperor got into power.
Yeah, just think if Qui-Gon wouldn't have ran into him and forced him to take them to the Gungan city. Roll the credits. It was over.
There you go.
But yeah, I think Palpatine influenced all that. I think by the time that we meet Chief Palpatine, he is... I so want Disney so needs to make a series. That's who deserves a full-on trilogy, or he deserves a show on Disney Plus, because I would love to see like a master and apprentice of, maybe we go from the Acolyte and that's what it leads into. I would love to see Plagueis and Palpatine and see how strong in the dark side Palpatine is when he can't control it. Because at some point he was like, very dangerous. I mean, not that he was ever not dangerous, but like his power was too loose,
I wish it had started a little bit before. I'd like to see Plagueis and his master. Not necessarily Plagueis as a little boy or anything, but at least him just hooking up with his master and, his training and him going on and finding Sheev and everything and starting that. Because baby steps, if they would just make Plagueis canon, because I don't remember anything in the book that if they made it canon, it wouldn't ruin anything that we have now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was a very, very good book, man. Very action-packed.
Yeah, that would be one. I would love for that one to be official canon. Palpatine and Plagueis also, Now, this was in the Phantom Menace book, so I don't know if Disney considers this it's not canon at all, I'm sure, but Palpatine and Plagueis had statues in Shmi Skywalker's Adobe hut or wherever she lived, and that's what they always alluded to. She was impregnated through the Force by Palpatine and Plagueis, and I think some of the comics might have
I don't
alluded
know
to this further.
if they were the one. See, I've heard a couple of different stories, and you never hear, you don't know if anything true. What I've heard is like, I don't know if it was both of them or just Plagueis or just Palpatine, but I know they went, since Tatooine is in, the Outer Rims, it's away from Coruscant, it's away from all the Jedi, nobody can sense the Force. Went out there because you know how Palpatine, told Anakin, Darth Plagueis so wise he could manipulate the midichlorians and create life. But I heard that that he was trying to do that on the Outer Rim, like on Tatooine specifically, trying to manipulate the midichlorians to create life. But the pregnancy of Shmi with Anakin was the light side of the Force trying to counteract what he was creating. Like it was their version of he's trying to create something evil, and then so they created something good inside of Shmi to counteract what he was doing. I don't know if I'm just remembering bits and pieces, but I can't remember where I even listened to that from. But so I don't know. That's just what I've heard, and I've also heard they just pretty much created Anakin. But to me, I don't know. That don't seem very. I don't know why you would create something that's going to destroy you, but I like the idea of them trying to create something evil, the Force counteracting it by creating Anakin to bring the balance. But I don't know. That's just what I've heard, and I can't remember where I've heard it from. I need to dig and find that out.
I know in the Phantom Menace book they talk about a couple of statues that they describe that would look like Darth Sidious with the kind of a cloaked figure. But I think there's one or two in our house, and they throw Qui-Gon, like Qui-Gon walks by them, and it gets his attention. The statues do, and that's all. The only mention to him in the book was in that one paragraph. But I always kind of thought that was like, we've been watching. They've been watching him. They know he exists, and I guess supposedly Phantom Menace crosses over with Palpatine still being Plagueis's apprentice, because supposedly like Plagueis shows up on Tatooine and just misses Anakin Skywalker, and like he was there to see Anakin, but somehow it got diverted, and he had just missed him by minutes. But it makes you wonder why he was there to see it, if it was something that he created,
Right.
or if it was something that Palpatine took his secrets and he's just like, holy shit, he done it. My apprentice has done it, and should have foreshadowed his killing.
Yeah, because I know as far as the Darth Plagueis novel, I want to say it ends about halfway to 3/4 of the way into episode 1. Like it doesn't end before episode 1 starts. I know it's because they're talking about some of the senatorial stuff that Palpatine's having to go do with Padme and stuff in the Plagueis novels, and so I know Palpatine is still an apprentice at least halfway through episode 1 before he actually kills Plagueis. Spoiler alert, and becomes the new master and starts looking for a new apprentice. Because I think that's why he tells Anakin, "I'm going to keep a close eye on you." But I think that was all intentional, of course.
Right. Plagueis didn't like Maul. I know
No,
that
he didn't.
has been a point of contention somewhere where he looked at Maul as maybe just an assassin, or if that's what, much like Dooku played Ventress off as his assassin versus an apprentice. Palpatine kind of played Maul off to Plagueis like that, and Plagueis never liked the idea of him.
Yeah, because Palpatine actually refers to Maul as my apprentice several times in Episode 1.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that comes from the comics or if that was in the Plagueis novel
You go
about
back
him
and
not.
listen to that again. That's a good book.
So, as far as I know, Palpatine's first apprentice was Maul. I don't know of any others beforehand.
I don't think so.
We do know they're rumored to have multiple apprentices out there. There are some saying that there are some that he sent, off into the outer edges of the galaxy to go search through the outer rim. But he also had Dooku. That was what we know canonically as his second apprentice. Do you think Dooku wasn't Sith? What kind of relationship do you think Palpatine and Dooku had?
I don't know. I mean, I guess just by the names, I would consider him Sith because he was given the Darth label. I mean, he was Darth Tyrannus, and usually all Sith, get that Darth title. I don't know. I like Dooku. I mean, Anakin obviously was more powerful for sure, but I mean, I think from the get go, he was a substitute in Palpatine's eyes. I knew Palpatine probably knew from the very beginning, just like, not Darth Jar Jar, but, Scott saying a pawn. Dooku was a pawn from the get go, but it's a shame. He's a good guy, but, good. I like Dooku. He's not my favorite, but he's up there, I think, in the top 5. But yeah, he was definitely a pawn from the get go. I think so.
Yeah, I love Count Dooku. He is one of my favorite Star Wars characters.
He's
overall.
classy.
He is. He's
very classy.
A noble man in a unruly time. Got the nicest lightsaber hilt. I think his is really sweet.
But you can't remember the back in the medieval days, who he based that hilt off of. It was a famous leader back in the medieval days, and his sword hilt was curved like that. And Christopher Lee purposely had his hilt curved exactly like that. Charlemagne, I want to say.
I think
it was Charlemagne.
That would make sense.
Charlemagne's hilt was curved like that on all of his swords, so Christopher Lee purposely had his sword hilt curved after Charlemagne. And I thought that was pretty cool. That just shows you that it's like, a throwback to the old school. He likes that.
To me, I thought their relationship was different. I thought the relationship with Dooku and Palpatine was less like we know it was obviously Darth Sidious. I mean, that's how he knew him. He didn't know, to my knowledge, he didn't know that was Palpatine. I mean, he just knew him as Darth Sidious, right? Or no, he's don't have his cloak on when Dooku dies.
Right. Because when he says "do it," he has that look on his face like, "What?"
Yeah, like, oh, what the?
I thought we were boys. What are you doing?
So
up to that point, though, I mean, I don't think you ever see Dooku see him not as Sidious, so that is kind of misleading. But like you said, that when he's sitting in that seat, chained up, handcuffed to the chair, the way he looks at him when he says "do it" to kill, to Anakin to kill him, that look on Dooku's face, that look shows you that he knows who Chancellor Palpatine is, really. But yeah, up till then, you don't really see no interaction except with Sidious, not with Chancellor Palpatine. So yeah, that is kind of misleading.
Right, because I would assume Darth Maul never knew.
No.
The only interactions I remember was with him and Sidious.
Yeah.
John says he had to know. I would agree that I think Dooku had to know because obviously the one scene. But outside of that scene, to me it was like Dooku was like a partnership. It was like two corporations that merged together to oust the Jedi.
Yeah.
Palpatine doing it from a sinister point. But to me, Dooku was never a bad guy. He was like I just can't accept Dooku's a bad guy.
I don't know. I just keep laughing because you keep going from Doku to Dooku. You're like, Doku, Dooku, Doku, Dooku.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
know how to. People get on me all the time because I'll pronounce his name wrong.
I think it's Dooku, but you just keep going back and forth. It keeps making me chuckle. My
Well,
bad.
that way I cover all the bases.
There you go.
You
That
know,
way
it's
you please
Darth
both sides.
Dooku
Darth
and
Dooku.
Lord Doku.
That's hilarious.
So that's how I always seen their relationship. They were like, McDonald's and Burger King got together and introduced a menu.
They're like, we want the Big Mac. Like, no, we want the Big King.
Yeah, let's have the Big King Mac.
There you
And
go.
then Palpatine steals the secret recipe like Ray Kroc and slices off Big Mac's head.
Hands first, and then his head.
Yes.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, I never seen, that's a relationship I would like to know more about. I would like to know more about Dooku and Palpatine's relationship. When did it start? How did he know? That I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, you figure, because even with the Tales of the Jedi, the little short cartoons, it shows a bunch of early on and behind the scenes stuff from both of them, but you never really see that first initial approach to Dooku to be like, hey, I got cookies over here, come on over here. Or, you don't see that first. That would be interesting. I would like, I mean, maybe Tales of the Sith or Tales of the Jedi may have a season 2 or something. Maybe they might dabble on that a little bit. That'd be pretty cool.
Maybe they should do Tales of the Sith, and we
That
can
would
get
be really cool.
Palpatine meeting everybody.
Or that's when they bring in Darth Plagueis for the first time. That'd be cool.
We get a series of Palpatine called Rules of Engagement. And this is where he just comes in and he meets people and it lets you know how he met so and so. So yeah, I would like to know more about that. Obviously, Palpatine had no use for Dooku, and moves on to Anakin as soon as he sees the time right. He's lathering Anakin up the entire time. He knows what he has. He knows who it is. He knows where he's from, and this is all playing into his master plan. At this point, he's known everything. He has fooled everybody, and we're entering into the Clone Wars, and everybody thinks he's good.
Yeah, even I mean, not to go back to Dooku, but it's like I think he really, sweet talked him. Because I think Dooku was 100% innocent. I think he truly thought, that's why he left. Part of the reason why he left the Jedi Order was because it's sort of like Qui-Gon. He just thought they were, not seeing eye to eye, not doing what they need to be doing. They were engaging in politics too much, and Dooku didn't agree with that. The Jedi shouldn't have been doing that. So I think that's part of the reasons why Dooku left. And I think in Episode 2, when Obi-Wan it's Episode 2. I think when Obi-Wan's captured on Geonosis, and Dooku's like, I sure wish Qui-Gon was here. He would understand. I don't think he was trying to manipulate Obi-Wan. I honestly believe that Dooku thought, because even Qui-Gon was butting heads with the Jedi Council all the time. I honestly think that Dooku thought that Qui-Gon would see his side of the story. And I think that's goes back to Palpatine, sending all that sweet smoothness and, music to his ears and just played right into his, discretions with the Jedi Council. And I think that's why he was able to pull Dooku in so easily. Because he was already, stepping out of the, Jedi, lifestyle at that point.
There is a book that does briefly touch on Dooku and Palpatine's relationship. It's the one about Dooku and Qui-Gon's mentorship status when he was a Padawan. And Qui-Gon meets with Vale Ross or something. Anyways, Dooku's first apprentice, who also leaves the Jedi Order. So, Dooku's always been associated, and we're talking about Palpatine, and we're totally off on Dooku here. But he talks to Vale Ross about, come join me. I've ran into this guy, and we're out to do this. And Rael tells him no. He's like, no, that's a little, it's not the Jedi, but that's a little bit too on the other side. And he actually informs Qui-Gon about this in the book because he's like, I didn't follow him either because it was a path that I couldn't follow. And Qui-Gon does not follow him in that instance. But it also talks about Dooku using Force lightning on a god that did something to Qui-Gon. And so he kind of takes him out back like the the parent, like, oh yeah, you messed with my kid. Yeah, let me show you what's really up. And talks about that, how Qui-Gon can smell the flesh burning and hear the crackling of the air. And he knew it wasn't right, but yet him and Dooku still went back to this book. And it was about the prophecies. It was probably where Sifo-Dyas had gotten a lot of this. So I wonder if that book was something that Palpatine used because what's her name, the librarian lady? She was the one, no, you can't touch this book. And, she would keep him away from it and things like that. Get mad when she'd come in and it'd be checked out. Jocasta knew.
In the back of my head, I kept saying Costa, something Costa. I know
Bob
Costas. Bob Costas, that's it. Get him, Bob.
Oh.
No, I just keep bringing Dooku back just because I think he was just too easy for Palpatine to manipulate because he was already on his way out. He already had these thoughts in his brain, and Palpatine, that was like, I ain't even got to try for this guy. It's like, I'll just get him over to my side very easily. And I think that's how that happened.
So he manipulates Maul with power. He manipulates Dooku with peace. And he manipulates Anakin through fear. Fear of losing everybody he's ever loved.
Yeah.
And then that's how he manipulates Anakin. But the most important scene is when Anakin and Mace Windu are confronting, Mace Windu has confronted Palpatine. Oh, before we get there, what are your thoughts on the scene when they first go in to Palpatine's throne room? And we get to see Palpatine with his lightsabers for the first time.
What do you mean with Windu and like Kit Fisto and them when they went in for the first time? It was definitely chilling. As far as from a movie standpoint of view, choreography, I think that was a big letdown because I know Ian McDermott, he's an older guy. He can't be like, little Yoda jumping and flipping. I know he's got to be more of a badass with his saber than what they showed in the movies, but it's like, all you see is like from here up, like headshots, like, people doing that. It's like you don't see a lot of awesome choreography like you do with Anakin and Obi-Wan. They're younger actors, but as far as like them walking in and then Palpatine sitting at his desk and he's like, you're under arrest. It's like, this is treason. It's like, I was getting goosebumps. It was definitely very, because I don't know, Revenge of the Sith is like my second or third most favorite Star Wars movie, just because it's the fall of the Jedi. It's very sad. I get a lot of cold chills. It's eerie. I hate seeing all the Jedis just getting wasted, shot in the back because it's very cowardly, but it happens and it's very sad. And I love the movie, but that scene, you got like 3 or 4 Jedi Masters, especially Mace Windu being one of them. And I really would have liked to seen more awesome choreography between that fight because you got a lot of badass people in that room at one time, a lot of power, but it's like you don't get to see it all. It's all from like the chest up, and it's just like, as far as from that point of view, as a letdown, but from the scene itself, I don't know, it was very powerful. Cold chills as soon as they walked into the room for me.
I love how he has the secret compartment with his sabers, and it just like slides down his wrist. The novel done so much better with that scene because the novel sets it up that the sheer quickness of Palpatine's powers allowed him to take out, what was it, like 4 Jedi or 3 Jedi and Mace Windu?
I think they're all masters.
Yes, and he was
I
able
think
to take...
I think it's 4 of them. I think it was him, Kit Fisto, can't think of the guy's name. I think he's dark skinned. I think he's got a couple little horns up front. I can't think of his name. I think there was a fourth one. I can't picture who it is right now, but I'm pretty sure it's four masters. And he just like took three of them out in a heartbeat, pretty much.
Right. And they talk about him doing the little twirly, like the Raiden
like a
move
corkscrew.
where he flies across.
Yeah, like a corkscrew kind of thing.
And so he can take out 3 Jedi Masters in a matter of seconds. I mean, the way they portray it in the book, it was too quick to even for the naked eye to see him move that quick, which that would have been great to see. I don't know how you would portray that on screen.
There's been a lot of CG'd stuff.
And then we see him and Mace Windu finally get a battle. But my question to you, Chris, Palpatine let Mace do that, right? He let Mace win.
If he did a very good job at it. Very believable.
But that's what he needed. He knew Anakin was coming. He knew Anakin would go back and tell him. He knew they would come back and they would shun Anakin away.
Yeah, but did he know Anakin was going to come to his rescue? I mean, that's a big bet. You know, hoping
help me, Anakin. And as soon as he did, he's like, ah! And he like fries Mace Windu out the window.
I don't know. I'm very torn for that scene. Because
I think it's a total setup.
I mean, what if Anakin didn't come back, though?
He knew he was, though.
He can't tell the future.
It.
The only reason I feel like that's a very touchy scene there is because
I meant to hit John's comment. Yes, it was. John's on the same page with me.
I don't know. I mean,
we're missing another conversation in chat.
Well, it's what Josh. I think he's referring to Josh. He said some talks of Burger King burgers, Bacon King being my favorite, very heavy burger for the stomach, though.
Who would have thought that? Oh yeah, Scott and Bose are like they're best buddies now. Look at this. Some talks of Burger King, King burgers, Bacon King, my favorite, very heavy burger for the stomach. Scott fires back with amazing 2 burgers, 2 pounds of bacons. Make me really wish I had a Burger King closer than 100. What the hell's 100K?
I know. Come on, speak English.
Dude, come on, Scott. Use what America uses for measurement, not the rest of the world.
Yeah, we're like the only people that don't use the metric system.
One day I was leaving Calgary. On the way, I stopped at a truck stop that has a BK in it. I was going Northwest Territories, so I ordered 3 of them so I could have food for the day.
I don't know. The Big King is pretty good burger.
That's where the poor kid at the counter crapped himself when he ordered 3. So that's what we were missing while we were talking about Palpatine, Chris, was
I guess we need
King.
I guess we need to change this to eat or do not.
Yeah.
There is no poop.
Just
talk about fast foods combo meals.
You know, that would probably be a very good podcast, just talking about various burgers.
Yeah. But, I mean, back to what we were talking about. The only reason I think I know it was planned, but I just don't see Palpatine 100% know that Anakin's coming back to save him. And if Anakin didn't come back to save him, I don't know that Palpatine would have won that battle. Just for the fact that, I mean, I know you know, like,
damn it, Bose.
Like Mace Windu has the Force ability Shatterpoint, and that's his special ability where he uses the Force. He can see a weakness in somebody when he's fighting them and exploit that weakness, and that's how he wins all of his, his duels, his fights. That's how he, with Grievous, coughing through the whole movie. He's coughing because, Mace Windu Force crushed his abdomen and about killed him. And I just feel like that's how he overthrew Palpatine so quickly. He has Shatterpoint. He saw the weakness. He exploited it. And I think Palpatine planned it the whole time, but I don't know. There's still that sliver of chance that your ball's not going to drop on the black. It's going to drop on the red. That's that big gamble that you got to take, with Anakin coming back.
So Palpatine knew that Qui-Gon would go manipulate the system to save the little slave boy. If Qui-Gon can roll his hand to make the dice flip over to another side so he can take Anakin off world.
But if he knew that, if he knew Qui-Gon was going to do that, why would he have sent Darth Maul to take a chance to kill him?
Because he knew Qui-Gon couldn't train him, and he knew that Anakin has to see Qui-Gon die in front of his eyes.
I'm not talking about the Duel of Fates. I'm talking about when
Before,
Darth Maul went
he was
to
going to do it then.
Tatooine.
He was going to do it then. Darth Maul sucked. He couldn't complete his job that he was supposed to do. And that's why Plagueis was probably right.
Why wouldn't he just let him come back to Coruscant or Naboo and do it then? Why is he? He's not choosing good soldiers.
No. Palpatine did not choose, and that became his undoing, because he didn't realize that that Darth Vader could eventually be turned back. It was ultimately his undoing because he can't hire good help. You can't find good people nowadays.
Nobody wants to work.
Palpatine had one guy that was good, Thrawn. That was the only guy that did a good job.
This is true.
And Moff Tarkin, Grand Moff Tarkin was a good employee. Worked his way up the ranks.
He was old, though. He's ready for retirement. He was on his way out the door.
He was. He got his watch. You know.
He was ready to get out of there anyway. And, it was the day of his retirement. Boom. He's done.
Shit, I only had 5 days left. I was going to Hoth to live. I don't know why the hell I would pick that, but that's the complete opposite of Florida. So yeah, I fully think that Palpatine knew, and somebody asked him, I think it was Star Wars Theory, had asked Palpatine, or not Palpatine, asked Ian McDermott, hey, you threw that against Mace, right? And Ian McDermott is of the philosophy that, well, yeah, obviously he done that so Anakin can see the humanity and save him and then be loyal to him. Oh, Scott's ahead of you on the Thrawn book. Oh wait, no. Which second book
He's
which Thrawn?
He's the first. He's watching the first or listening to the first trilogy.
Okay. Good books, Scott. Palpatine then convinces the entire Senate. Oh, look what they done to me. I'm so horrible. Look what they done to my face. And everybody buys into it. And then we get the birth of the Emperor. And then you don't see the Emperor for like a movie and a half. Because he's not in A New Hope. And then we see him, when does he come in? Return of the Jedi, really?
So you don't see the Emperor for like 35 years. Or no, I guess it'd be like 25 years, wouldn't it?
What did you think about Palpatine in the original trilogy? Because looking at him back after we get to see him through the prequels, it was really cool because we got this backstory to someone we didn't know anything about originally in Star Wars.
I think he was scarier in the original trilogy, in my opinion. Not because I was a little kid, just because you had that voice, just his face, that determination, that looking down. He was always looking down on Vader, as a hologram. And then when you see him, like in Return of the Jedi or even in Revenge of the Sith, he's just like this. I'm old and I hold my hands like this when I walk all the time. I don't like all that. I like the Empire.
Arthritis is a real thing.
I like the Empire. It's just the face looking down. He was mean. And then when you see his full body, you're like, he's an old man. I can whip that ass.
So what about the original hologram of Palpatine? Because originally he was this frog type creature that George Lucas had imagined. And one of the early holograms you see him in the original trilogy, he's got these really bug eyes and a really creepy looking, he's not very human originally.
It's originally Gollum. My precious.
It is very Gollum-esque, except with more like baggy eyelids. Gollum with no sleep.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely I don't know. I love the way I love how Ian McDermott did all of it, but and I don't even think it's because I was a little kid and that's nostalgia to me. But I just think he was scarier in the original trilogy than he was in the prequel trilogy and even the sequel trilogy. I think seeing the full body of it is what. And I know looks can be deceiving. Like with Yoda, he's little. You don't think he's going to be so powerful. When you see the Emperor and he's old and frail, you don't think he's going to be powerful. But I don't know, just the imagery of that big head looking down on Vader, because Vader is supposed to be this awesome person. You got this, you know, master looking down on him. I don't know. When I was a little kid, I just remember the Emperor. I thought was just like terrifying. They did a
I can
good
see
job
that.
with it.
Palpatine's a scary man, and I thought I'll agree with you. And what I loved about Return of the Jedi was all the villains. All your villains got really good scenes. Vader had great scenes. Palpatine had great scenes. Jabba the Hutt, Rancors. Boba Fett was the exception because his scenes were cool, but
He got he
his
got he got robbed.
yeah the whole
Boba Fett, where? Oh, my jetpack. Oh, it's malfunctioned. It's like this badass just got
I thought the first time you see Force lightning, I thought that was a really cool,
Yeah.
that was a really cool ability. Where do you fall on the Emperor can see all this stuff, but he never seen Vader's ultimate turn on him? Why do you think he missed that? He didn't miss a beat up until that point.
Very good question. I don't know because I mean that's because he knew that if Luke was not turned to the dark side, he knew Luke was going to kill him pretty much. Because Vader said the Emperor has foreseen this. Unless Vader just got so good that he could mask his thoughts and intentions like Palpatine did with the Senate and everything back in the day. And that could be my only assumption because it seems like he should have known that.
That's a really good assumption because it would be very similar to how Vader's grandfather uh, or grandson hid his thoughts in the throne room with Snoke, which is also Palpatine.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, because I would say that because there was even in Empire when Vader was trying to get Luke before when he cut his hand off, he's like, "Join me as father and son. We will take down the Emperor." I mean, he was had all these massive plans, and unless he was masking, hiding all that from the Emperor, I mean, the Emperor should have known that too from Empire. Vader
right.
talking about bringing Luke in and both of us killing the Emperor and ruling the galaxy as father and son. I mean, maybe Vader was able to mask it like Emperor was. If not, it's just a writer's flaw, I guess. I mean, that's what I'd like to think that he was strong enough to cover that up.
More I think about it, I think you're probably right. That's what we do here on Do or Do Not. We solve the problems of Star Wars. But I think you're right. I think he probably learned how to mask it, just like what ultimately becomes the end of all Sith Masters is because their apprentice finally learns what they do, masks what they do or their feelings towards their masters, and then kills them. I'd always kind of thought it was a fit of blind rage, but I think I'm 100% wrong. I just thought
I
he
mean,
was
when
so enraged with trying to kill Luke that he just lost sight of it. And
that
but
could have
that
been
one makes
too.
more sense.
I mean, but even the camera close up on his face, you could see the hatred in his eyes and just the intense focus on wanting to kill Luke. I mean, that could be another, like you said, exactly like he just for a second there, he was just where they like the blinders on the racehorses. He can't see anything outside of it. He's just focused on killing Luke, and he just didn't sense Vader about to kill him. And I
Because
mean,
that's what
that's
I
a,
always thought. Like, Vader has Palpatine up and he's just like freaking out like a small kid. He's like, ah, and, electricity's flying out of his body. And it was just like he threw a giant temper tantrum. And then he gets thrown down a giant reactor core. And you know what I always thought was weird in Return
What's
of
that?
the Jedi? Is at the end of that, when he gets thrown down the reactor core, you always seen that plume of purple smoke or purple mist that shot back up out of that. And I don't think that was intentional, or I mean, I obviously it was an intentional piece of the movie, but I don't know that that was ever intentional for George Lucas to bring him back. But that scene worked out really well for Disney
Yeah.
because it gave them a clear launching off point that, hey, we can talk about transferring your essence. And that's obviously, it looks like, if you watch the end of Return of the Jedi, Palpatine's essence left that tube. Is how I always took it. I took that before before we got really deep into the sequels. It just seemed
Well, I
like,
mean, even in Legends, though, before Disney even came up with that, even in Legends, Palpatine was cloning himself. I mean, there was like a whole story of a young Palpatine who cloned himself as a younger person. So, I mean, at least that's one sliver of thing that Disney kind of took and ran with, but they kind of ran off to an oddball direction and hit a brick wall. But they at least were running that, took it and ran with it. But yeah,
so what do you think? What do you think? Like Luke didn't even hold on. Luke didn't even destroy him directly. It was through Vader by making him realize that he needed to protect his son. That's why Palpatine doesn't see it coming, and that makes sense too. It was the light side, and the light side ultimately won. Again, that's why I'm a proponent that Luke really did nothing in the story. That Vader was going to kill Palpatine eventually, anyways. Uh,
well, Luke did have to get tortured for Vader to do that, though. Luke had to be there. Vader just wouldn't have been standing next to him going, I'm going to save my imaginary son.
but,
Throw him in.
but Vader was already talking about killing Palpatine. Not in the movies, but like in the comics, they make it now like this was Vader's idea as soon as he was in the suit. He's like,
It makes sense when he lifts Palpatine up, with the suit being so magnified with electricity. At least that explains why he died from holding him just for a few seconds. That electricity pretty much killed him.
Scott is on time to the party. Vader cloaked his feelings the same way Kylo did when he killed Snoke. Um, so Palpatine is also the first Star Wars villain who came back in a video game that wasn't even about Star Wars.
What? Repeat that again?
That Palpatine came back in a video game that's not even about Star Wars, and that's how he came back for the new movies.
And what game was that?
Fortnite. And did you know that's where they gave the big reveal before Episode 9? For a week or 2 weeks before Episode 9 released, you could log into Fortnite, and there were these Star Destroyers that it came over the skies, and it was the same message that they played in the beginning of Rise of Skywalker, where Palpatine's, like his AM radio broadcast, Palpatine started a podcast and sent it out through the galaxy. But that's what they were playing in Fortnite, was that little spiel that I've returned, blah, blah, blah. And it happened like a week leading up to the new movie.
That doesn't impress me one bit. I don't like Fortnite at all. So it's like, hey, what's a lame way we could bring this character back to these lame movies? It's like, oh, let's take this lame video game. We'll let it all be lame together.
You gotta stick with the theme, Chris.
I guess. Exactly, Scott. Exactly. Post that, Dwight.
What is
Fortnite. What's that? It's lame. That's what it is.
that? Is a I don't know what an actual Fortnite is. One of these new video games these kids are playing nowadays, where they waste all their time in front of a
That and
tablet or a
Minecraft.
phone.
Ugh.
You don't like Minecraft?
It's the graphics. I mean, I can't. It's too pixelated for me. I can't even watch seconds of it. I'm gonna get bored with
Oh
it.
my god, that's somebody who grew up with an Atari and Nintendo.
What's sad is maybe Atari, but even the first Nintendo has better graphics than Minecraft. And even some games in Atari have better graphics than Minecraft.
See, I don't
John,
know.
you
This
know,
is how the kids talk this day. I don't know
Chris,
I don't know what all
Chris
this
can
is.
floss like a boss. Hey, before we log off here, I don't know if you're guaranteed. I'm just letting John know since he's listening. John, have you seen Spaceballs? And if you have not, or don't remember much about it, do not watch it again.
Yeah, don't watch Spaceballs.
Because we're going to do a watch party and you're going to be a part of it.
Yeah, years playing WoW. There's several years of my life that we're playing WoW. Pretty sure multiple years of Scott's life as well.
Yeah, many years of mine.
So, what did you think when Palpatine came back in Episode 9?
It didn't upset me. I mean, he looked weird being like, he was hooked up on that machine kind of off the ground floating a little bit.
Okay, I got to stop you here. So, John has seen Spaceballs. How in the hell have you seen Spaceballs and not seen Star Wars? How was it? How could it be amusing?
I think
to
he's
you?
He's seen the original trilogy. He just didn't remember much about it.
Okay, so you knew what it was a parody of.
Pretty sure he did.
Okay, all right. So now back, sir. Sorry to interrupt. Breaking news.
What was I talking about?
I don't remember.
Oh, Palpatine. What I thought about him in the sequel trilogy.
Yes.
I did. That was one thing that didn't upset me. I know some people was like, "Oh, they brought Palpatine back." It didn't really upset me that they brought him back. Kind of wish it was a little different than how they did it, but that part of the sequel trilogy didn't run the sequel trilogy for me. I mean, because I knew Legends, Palpatine came back as clones and stuff like that, and them trying to have the original Palpatine and trying to clone himself. I mean, I respected that subject matter of the sequel trilogy. Yeah, that part didn't make me mad. I wish they, like I said, I wish they did a little differently. I don't know how differently that should have been, but it's very, very vague. But I think that's what, like, the Mandalorian, Ahsoka series, it's like all this stuff before. I think that's kind of like maybe going to throw bits and pieces into what he was doing to try to build up the First Order.
What do you think of his robes? Because when we got Palpatine back, we got like the Hugh Hefner of Palpatines. I mean, he had this really luxurious red velvet robe on and under his black ensemble.
I mean, it could have been the acolytes, the Sith. I guess that's what they're called, the Sith acolytes or the Sith worshippers or whatever they were. I mean, yeah, it didn't bug me one bit. Sagar Patel, yeah, representing Houston, Texas.
Whoop whoop, Houston. So, did you like the big contraption thingy that was keeping him alive? What did you think about me?
Like I said, that's the part that kind of weirded me out, like how it was hooked to him through his back and he was like lifted up off the ground. I thought that was kind of weird looking. But I mean, I guess after what he's been through, but I don't know. Like I said, the Palpatine part of the sequel trilogy didn't bother me. I mean, as bad. I guess they got their own conversation going at one time.
Oh, that's quite right. That's what chat is for. I'm okay. Still divorced. Almost over.
Hang in there, buddy. Hang in there.
Congratulations, sir. Well, maybe not.
To a certain point, yeah. Hang in there, buddy.
You know what I thought was weird? Palpatine looked like a dog that was going blind. Like his eyes had that, like the cataracts in his eyes were bad.
His mouth, his lips were weird too. Wasn't there like a lot of blackness, like in between his lips and around his lips or something?
Yeah, so he's got like gum disease.
Were you thinking this is a guy who was thrown down a reactor core, blown up? But I know he transferred his consciousness or whatever, but I don't know.
Chris is beautiful. This is
Awesome.
an awesome hat, and Chris does have a beautiful face.
I do.
It's definitely made for the
I,
podcast.
I mean, this is a gift and a curse, though.
It's the cross you bear in life.
I know.
It's just what some of us have to do. Cigar makes a very good point. Of course, he was literally burned alive from electrical force burns.
True, but did they use his original body that was burned alive, or did he actually transfer his essence to a clone body? That's the part that confused me as far as the sequel trilogies.
I wonder which body. Well, now I mean, obviously their cloning sucked. Because look at Snoke. I mean,
Yeah, but look at Moff Gideon. I mean, his clones looked freaking identical. I mean, I think he had a mustache and the clones didn't have a mustache. As far as the physical appearance, Moff Gideon's clones were like perfect as far as looks.
diminishing returns are a thing.
Yeah, I guess it was like 35, 40 years since Jedi, so.
Yeah, but we don't know that maybe all of Moff Gideon's research
Gets
gets
destroyed.
destroyed. And
Possibly.
then he never gets it.
True.
So maybe that's why, Palpatine was literally
I
falling
mean, from
apart.
the beginning, I kept thinking, which I don't think anymore. I kept thinking, Gideon, and everybody's working for the Emperor, trying to get him his DNA to clone and stuff like that. That's what my original thought was. But after, by the end of season 3 of Mando, I'm like, yeah, maybe that's not the case as much anymore. Maybe it is just a selfishness of Moff Gideon, but I don't know. Still got
I don't think
series
Gideon
left.
was out to bring Palpatine back. I originally thought that as well, but he is.
Or all Gideon and that whole council could. I think me and John were talking about this the other day. I don't think they knew Palpatine was alive, actually.
Well, they did not. Brindle Hux, or not. Wait, which Brindle? Yeah, Brindle Hux. So General Hux's dad.
Yeah.
He was the Palpatine loyalist. He would be, according to the Aftermath books, Brindle Hux was the one, get out into the outer regions, and this is what Palpatine wanted us to do. So he was a Palpatine loyalist. He was Palpatine's the Empire. We're going to continue his legacy. And Ray Sloan kills Brindle Hux. Spoiler alert. And Brindle Hux never
did he
go. He don't go much past where he's at now. I'm sorry, Ray Sloan did not. General Hux killed his dad.
Yeah, I was saying the comics, I thought Hux killed his dad.
Yeah, Hux killed his dad.
Okay.
But he never makes it out to the outer regions wherever they regroup for the First Order.
All right.
I don't think Moff Gideon and what's the guy? The guy who's a real big proponent of Thrawn has a good mustache. Shit. But anyways, I don't think they were in. I think Thrawn might be. I don't know if Thrawn's back to bring the Emperor back because he accomplished maybe what he was looking to do.
Yeah, which I don't know. Talking about him just gets me excited for Ahsoka. I don't know because I like Thrawn. I'd rather see Thrawn leading the Empire than the Emperor. I know that's a lot of people would probably think it's blasphemy, but I don't know. I'm a big fan of Thrawn leading the Empire.
The Emperor's contingency plan, Cigar, started.
Sagar.
Sagar. Close, but no Sagar.
I'm sure he's not heard that before.
Oh, yeah, no, that's 100% original right there, baby.
I represent Sagar. I let people know you were saying it wrong.
Log in.
He's grown up with
anytime,
that. I'm
Sagar,
correcting
we
it.
are here to insult very freely. It began very, very earlier. Buddy's a good sport about it. It was very early on when you're reading the Thrawn novels. Palpatine starts this because he wants to know everything about the outer regions. So his contingency plan, I mean, hell, it probably went back when he was Plagueis' apprentice. He probably knew this was going to have to happen, that he would die and the essence would transfer. So it could be as early as Palpatine was born. Maybe we don't know how far in the future he could have possibly seen and been clouded by.
But I think with his method though, I mean, because Plagueis was hell bent on creating life with the Force, which I think, which there's no books on it, but my personal opinion is Palpatine got a lot of his findings from Bane, because Bane was big. Darth Bane was big on essence transfer. He was the big Sith doing that, which was just I think a handful of 100 years, 200 or 300 years before Palpatine. I mean, because at the end of the Bane novels, which isn't canon, but when Bane died, he successfully transferred his essence into his apprentice, which was a female. So he successfully did that. So I think they're going to probably take from that. I think that's what Palpatine was probably studying, was Bane's teachings on that.
Now that you mentioned that, let me pose this question to you. Do you buy the theory that Bane transferred his essence? That essence got transferred again. That essence wound up in Plagueis. When Palpatine kills Plagueis, that essence goes into Palpatine. Do you believe that this has jumped all the way up to Darth Vader? Would have been the first one to break the cycle because he never became the Sith Master. Because when he killed, he went back to the Jedi. Do you think that it could be possible that the Sith essence has just been jumping for thousands of years, and that it's been one Sith who has ultimately controlled all of this over time?
I don't think so. Just because it's canon in the Clone Wars, Yoda talks to Darth Bane's spirit. So there had to be, if that was happening, it eventually stopped because Darth Bane's spirit was like in a tomb, on Korriban, or is that where Yoda went? Was Korriban or one of the Sith worlds in the Clone Wars cartoon?
Was Korriban ever brought into canon?
I don't know. John, he's a little more refreshed. He just got done watching it. I don't know if he remembers.
Where's the noob? Get the noob here to answer all our questions.
But to me, that would say that if that was happening, it finally stopped. If you're talking to a spirit, because evidently that spirit wasn't able, or the essence or whatever, wasn't able to jump to a new body, and it was in a tomb. I mean, I don't know. That's just what I gathered, that Bane is not in a body no more. When Yoda was talking to him or interacting with him.
Will you be disappointed if Palpatine comes back again?
Would Palpatine have tried to kill Vader in his essence when would transfer? Is that what you asked? I don't know.
If Vader would have killed Palpatine in the attempt to overthrow him, I would think Palpatine's, in the theory that I'm talking about, then his essence would have went to Vader and then he would have lived. Because that's why they think that Plagueis figured out eternal life. It was more of an essence jumping, and Palpatine didn't know it.
Or is John saying when Palpatine died, he transferred his essence with the new body holding his essence, went and killed Vader for killing him? Which I don't know, because maybe, if Palpatine is all-knowing like he normally is, he would have known that Vader would have been dead, just minutes after him. So maybe he wouldn't even have tried that because he knew Vader was dead.
Do you ever watch the Lego Star Wars?
No, I've been asked that. I need to watch those.
You know why?
Why's that?
Because Palpatine is the best.
Palpatine is the best in... That's true too. And you're talking about Moff Gideon, I'm sure, Soccer. That kind of makes sense a little bit.
Yeah.
Like Palpatine stole his ideas.
Yes, an interesting question.
Huh. I think if Vader was alive, I don't know if Palpatine would have personally came and killed him, but I think Palpatine would have made arrangements to try to kill him. I don't think he would have let that go unchecked. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
he's too grudge holding, I think.
yeah, that makes sense on Moff Gideon building up the good clone project. I don't know, maybe Gideon or not Gideon, but maybe we don't know until Ahsoka comes out. But I think Gideon's still alive. Ahsoka's going to come out. Thrawn's going to come back. I think Thrawn's going to kill Moff Gideon, and then Thrawn's probably going to give Palpatine all of Moff Gideon's secrets because I think Thrawn's probably still aware of Palpatine and helping him.
I wonder if he is, though. But I can't give too much away because everybody's in the middle of the books.
Yeah.
We'll get into this at the end of August once we see what Thrawn's role is going to be. I'm not sold that they're bringing Thrawn back as the.
Well, he's not going to be the lewd
guy.
leader because you got the First Order, so, and he's not represented in the First Order at all. So,
Correct.
I want to know what's going to happen to him. He could go back to the Ascendancy. He could die. We don't know.
I
think he's coming back to kill Moff Gideon though, because Moff Gideon talked a lot of trash to him in season 3. I think Thrawn is going to kill Moff Gideon.
Yes, I agree with that. Who Moff Gideon that died was a clone.
Yeah,
and they need Grogu's blood in order to get Palpatine right. And I think that's the only blood that works. Moff Gideon had his blood, and it looks like all of it might have got destroyed. So there might not be no more Grogu blood going around. Thrawn's time is very, very limited, but I don't look as Thrawn as a bad guy. And I think that's where I'm jaded.
But you've read all 6 books too, so that's probably why you got a different perspective. I'm in the 4th book, but
yes, there's even in the first 3, there's hints there that Thrawn's not.
I don't think Thrawn's evil, in my opinion.
No, he's not.
I mean, with the first, Scott's in the first 2, and I'm sure he's already seen the first 2, and I'm in the 4th one. Thrawn, the people that's beneath him, he never gets pissed off at them. He's always trying to bring them in, be like, what do you think? What would you do to fix this? What do you see is going on? It's like he tries to work with them and build them up to make, the whole operation stronger. He's not like Vader, like, you didn't say, force choking you, I'm going to kill you. And it's like Vader kills everybody that disagrees with him, which I don't think is good. Good politics in my opinion, but
Thrawn is a much better leader.
He's complete opposite. He tries to build everybody up and make everybody stronger. Yeah, exactly, Scott.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm very conflicted on where they're going to go with Thrawn because I know they have to have a bad guy, but they've done these trilogies, and that's about all I can say without getting into a bunch of spoilers for later. It's a means to the end.
Yeah, John,
Thrawn does not crave power.
You're going to have to listen to the books to get that answer.
You can surmise from Rebels alone that Thrawn does not strive for power. He just strives for an orderly means to an end. And like a lot of the people in the Empire, they think they're doing a good thing. The majority of people in the Empire think that they're bringing order to the galaxy and doing the right thing.
Yeah, there's only a handful of people that know that they're really screwing everybody over.
And it definitely wasn't the 10,000 people on the Death Star.
Yeah, or the millions of people on Alderaan.
Alderaan.
Yeah, I said the millions of people in Alderaan didn't think that either.
Oh, I thought you said hold on.
No, Alderaan.
The millions of
It's
people,
like,
hold on. I was waiting for it. I was like, Alderaan, Chris, Alderaan. um, so yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where they go from here, and without a Palpatine. But I want to see a Palpatine movie.
I don't know if we'll get a Palpatine movie. I
Or a
mean, that would be
Palpatine
awesome,
show.
but
Who would play a young Palpatine now?
oh, you want a Palpatine, like prequel Palpatine?
Yeah, we're going to have to. You can't get him now. I mean, it's a little late for anything really divulging now, unless he comes in one of these. I don't think they'll bring him back for any of these shows. I think Disney's learned their lesson that, hey, I think we're good. We might show some glimpses, but I
I don't
don't
know.
think
With him
he's.
and the looks of the actor in the trailer, I mean, it's like all the other ones. I mean, he doesn't look like Thrawn. He's got blue skin. He's got red eyes. It's definitely the guy that did the voice. They got a lot of good elements, and hopefully he does a good job. Just like with Cad Bane, he doesn't look like Cad Bane, but he still sounded awesome, did awesome. I'm hoping the actor really pulls it off. But if they did a younger Thrawn, I think they would have to put a little more prosthetics. I mean, because Thrawn has those
No, younger
bones in it.
Palpatine.
I thought you said a younger Thrawn.
No, I meant younger Palpatine.
Oh,
Who would play a younger Palpatine?
ugh. I would like. I don't know his name, but I'm sure. Hopefully, somebody in the chat knows who I'm talking about. The young guy that plays not Harry Potter, but those prequels, the Fantastical Beast or whatever those movies are. You know what I'm talking about? Scott, somebody knows what I'm talking about. It's the one that's got Jude Law and several other big names in it, but it's like a prequel that takes place before Harry Potter. It's like Jude Law plays the old man in the Harry Potter movies with the long white beard. He plays a young version of him.
It is definitely not Jesus.
No, it ain't Jesus
Not
Tater.
Jesus,
It's
Scott.
just call me Lord Tater, not Jesus Tater. That's taking a little too far. But you know how I'm talking. In Harry Potter movies, the head guy of the school with the long white beard.
Yeah, Gandalf.
Oh my god,
Dusseldorf.
Dumbledore. Yes,
Dusseldorf.
Sagar, Dumbledore. Jude Law plays a young Dumbledore.
Eddie Redmayne.
Is that his name? The guy that plays in the Fantastic Beast. That's the guy. If that's who you're talking about, Josh.
I think that's something from Game of Thrones.
What, Dumbledore?
No, Redmayne.
No, let me look here real quick. I got the information highway in my hands.
We've
That's. I
done
think
got
he would.
our
I think.
Star Wars mixed up with Harry
I
Potter.
think he would. I think he would make a good young Palpatine. If I type this in, this is somebody completely odd, but nope, that's exactly who it is, Josh. Eddie Redmayne. I don't know if y'all can see this or not.
He would look like, yeah, he would make a good
He
Palpatine.
would make a good young Palpatine.
Good job, Bose. Way to go.
Yeah. I've never watched those movies, but I've seen interviews with him and he looks like a really good guy. Sounds like a really good guy. But I think he would make a good young Palpatine. After all that, that's what I get to. It took a while to get there, but we got there.
It did. As long as we get there. It doesn't matter what time the bus shows up, ladies and gentlemen.
As long as I got my helmet on, my chin strap on, I'm ready to go to school.
Oh. Yes, I call Bose uncultured all the time because this man has never seen a movie. He's seen all the Harry Potter movies, evidently, but he does not know anything else about
Scott reads them. I know Scott reads the books and likes them. I think Scott actually watches the movies and likes them, but I just can't. I can't get into it. I can't.
I watched some of them. They were okay.
I need to probably force myself to watch them because I've only watched the first one and I've watched maybe 20 to 40 minutes total here and there. I guess just the little kid actors. I just can't stay intrigued with it. I probably got to sit down and just force myself to watch it, but right now I can't get into it.
I've watched them all up till like the last three. I haven't seen the finales. Um, Scott loves it. He's watched the movies, the movies.
He's watched the movies.
He's watched the movie. That must
the
be
movies are the movies must be like the short versions of it.
That's what they watch up in Canada with their kilometers. Go to the movies. They drove.
He's gonna cuss me. He's gonna cuss me out on my phone here for too long. He's been drinking. Probably he's probably had some rum.
Good. See, Texas got a kick out of the Canadian jokes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that about wraps it up on Palpatine. Is there anything else you have to add to? Cigar's got his back.
Sagar. Viva la Canada.
I will never pronounce it right, Cigar. It will always be.
Every time I call him, I'm like, let me speak to Sager Paddle.
And yes, we did notice that makes a lot more sense with your typing.
Yeah, he's Scott. Been draining since 4 p.m. What's draining? I don't even know what that is.
I've been draining in my movie. Driving my
I've been
kilometers.
draining and watching movies all night.
Oh, that's fantastic. So yes, if you've not watched the Lego Star Wars, you need to watch the Palpatine. Palpatine is awesome on the Christmas one. The Christmas one's really good. I know you love Rey. She's in it. Don't worry. But Vader and Palpatine are fantastic.
Like I'm not going to watch it if she's not on it. Don't worry, Chris. Rey's on there. Your favorite character. Like, yeah, I'm there.
I think that's about all we got for this week's episode. Anything else to add, Chris, before we log off and let Scott get back to his movies and his dreaming?
No, I would like, since we're so active in the chat, if people can like and subscribe and post in the comments what character you'd like for us to talk about next week. Because me and Dwight, I mean, we're like top scale professionals. We had everything planned out before we logged on tonight.
Absolutely. The every bit of 30 seconds that we were like, let's talk about Palpatine because that one's easy.
But I mean, seriously, if there's like a specific, I mean, Scott, even if you wanted to talk about Jar Jar, I would actually try to do some research and we'll talk about an hour of Jar Jar, but I don't know if that would be doable. But I mean, seriously, if there's anybody you guys would like for us to try to talk about, just give us some recommendations, some suggestions.
We got 5 people in here. Bose has smashed the like button. I don't expect Bose to know any other Star Wars character besides Chewbacca.
I just will let you know next Friday, if we do it, it might be closer to 9:30 or so because I'm going to watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off at the movie theater. Maybe. That's about a 75% chance that'll happen, just to let you know.
So we might be a little later next Friday night. Revan.
That's Sagar's. Oh man, that's good stuff. Revan's probably one of my most favorite Force users.
Sagar ships and different Rebel class. We have talked about doing the ships. That is something that is on the soon to be playlist. I like both the Bendu and Revan. I like both of those.
Rebels is the first time that I heard of Bendu, and I fell in love with that character.
Hell yes, Jar Jar. So we got Jar Jar, Revan, and the Bendu. One of those 3 will be our topic for next week. We will decide which one, but one of those 3 will be our topics. There was something very... You know what the best appearance of Palpatine was? The scariest? Rebels. Did you just hear the gunshot outside?
I heard it at my house. I don't think it's a gunshot. It's probably fireworks.
Yeah, well, it sounds cooler when we're on live internet. Like,
we live down in South Central.
Drive-bys in Frankfort, Kentucky.
Out in the country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patel. We greatly appreciate it.
Hey, you said it right.
Rebels and Palpatine, when he was glitching in and out and he would go from the Emperor or Darth Sidious, the Emperor, and he would turn into Sheev and he would glitch in and out when Ezra was when he was force projecting himself to the temple and was showing Ezra
See,
like
I'm
his
right
parents.
there. I'm rewatching it, and I've just watched the episode where he pulled Ahsoka out, and they both ran, and he was shooting the blue lightning flames at them. So I think that's probably going to be like the next episode.
It probably is.
Yeah,
Probably is.
I'm right there.
That was scary too. He was like the wolf out of the never ending story, the nothing.
Yeah.
When he was like, you just seen his eyes coming out of the cave. That was really cool too.
Yeah.
The Emperor was awesome in Rebels. Thank you very much, sir. This was the pain and labor.
That's the reason why we were off like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yes, yeah, those bookshelves were the reason. I had to do.
I think I was responsible for at least 1 week, but yeah. It does look good though.
It does look good. I like the lighting's pretty good. I changed it to purple for the Emperor this week.
Nice.
Have you seen the desk chairs? They got an Emperor's desk chair.
I just saw that the other night and showed it to the wife. I was like, I want to get one of these.
Awesome. It's only $1,300.
I don't know. Maybe Sagar can put in the comments too. Sagar and his son, he just bought lightsabers for both of them a little while ago. Man, they are fantastic. He sent me a couple of videos of them like dueling and showing them. They're freaking awesome, dude. They're not made by Disney. They're made by a third-party company, but they're pretty badass.
That is awesome. That is something I would like to see. Sagar, you got to share. Come on, got to share all the information. Make sure you get out there, like the Facebook page, the Powerbomb Nation on Facebook. There are 2 Saberforge. I've heard of them. Saberforge, I heard, was a really good company. I've not bought any lightsabers. And then NeoPixel Sabers. I've not heard of them. All I need to say, I know it's not Star Wars, but hell's yeah for Jey Uso. Damn right for Jey Uso. I'm in on that, Scott. Scott, I need to message you anyways.
I'm sure that's a wrestler.
It's it's wrestling talk.
Yeah.
Make sure everybody joins the Facebook page. Oh gosh, see, you're not even you don't know Chris. We see you just.
That's Scott's favorite wrestler. You don't see me, Scott. You don't see me. He's probably mad right now.
It is Scott's favorite wrestler. That's fantastic. Join the Facebook page, the Powerbomb Nation, not Powerbomb Nation. We've lost control of the one Facebook page, and John Reed cannot see Chris anymore. So make sure you like and subscribe on Facebook. It's where we're at right now. And I will not post Scott's latest comment as I want this episode to remain on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Powerbomb Nation. You can see it all over here somewhere right there. We go at Powerbomb Nation, all the socials.
Right over there.
Sagar, share the picture. I want to see your lightsaber. Share the video to the Powerbomb Nation Facebook page or the Powerbomb Nation Facebook group. And please join us there. Join the conversation where we can have a grand old time 24 hours a day. If you like coffee, this episode was brought to you by Powerbomb Roasting. Find your perfect brew with the internet's freshest coffee, powerbombroasting.com. Chris, until next time, my friend, may the force be with you.
Always.
It's not over yet.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's